Hello, I am Terry Brewer Jr. I want to welcome you to my podcast. I am the sole and managing member of Consulting Solutions 360 LLC, also doing business as Terry B's Consulting Solutions 360 LLC. I want to again welcome to my podcast. I want to ask you to share this podcast. Please share it. Share it with anybody that you can share it with. And this is about my update with the racial discrimination that some of you all may know of, and also my allegations that my grandmother was murdered at Broward Health. Again, those are allegations. I have asked for those to be investigated, and everything is at a standstill. Before I go further into my notes that I have here, forgive me when you see me look down every now and then, but this number here, 472 days, it's been way past that. It's been since August 7th, 2022, since we call a congressional inquiry, is when you may have a problem or issue with a federal agency, and that you can't go any further, you hit a wall. And so what you can do is that you can go to your local congressional representative and have them to intercede for you on your behalf. And so my local congressional representative is Congresswoman Sheila Cherfilus McCormick. In my opinion, her office is intentionally interfering with things, and I'm sidetracking where I want to go. But this is a congressional release form, and the congressional release form is just that simple. And basically, the only thing it's asking, the main thing, is for her to forward my discrimination complaint to DOJ just to advise whether the allegations warrant a criminal investigation on my behalf. So that's not for them to make any actions, to do anything but to look at the complaint. And the complaint includes allegations involving former President Donald Trump. It's been way over 472 days. Congressman Hastings on his deathbed, their office moved in less than 30 days on the congressional inquiry that I have here now in my hand. Why has it taken longer than anything else if you're not trying to protect somebody who's trying to get back in office again? That's just my personal opinion. But again, let me get back on my script. I want to thank everybody for tuning in and for watching. There's been a lot that's been going on, and I know you guys haven't heard from me since July 7th. So my last update was July 7th, 2023, and a lot has been going on. I want to say this because I do believe my mail has been interfered with. So for those who've been trying to send me mail and maybe it's been going back, I'm not sure what's been happening. So again, as far as Consulting Solutions and my operation and how I do business and even reside, my residence and the business operation is at 1050 Northwest 25th Avenue, Fort Lauderdale, Florida 33311, 1050 Northwest 25th Avenue, Fort Lauderdale, Florida 33311. I have been trying to conduct business through the P.O. Box. However, when you have Marjorie Stoneman Douglas victims, possible casualties of racism, and I've been trying to get into contact with family members and other people just to get an investigation. And it's not for attention. I'm not one of those attention seekers. It is something real. It is something that I think that somebody abused, that I think former President Trump, along with other governmental officials, abused the law. I believe it was colorable. I believe they used certain things against me to place me on the terrorist list. And when I've gone to my congressional representative only to forward a complaint to DOJ just to read and just to respond back to her to say whether the allegations, quoting, whether the allegations warrant a criminal investigation. That's just on my behalf and on my grandmother's behalf. Where I'm at right now in federal court, in the federal court process, for those who know, I've been trying to get the federal court. I'm grateful that my mother has signed over power of attorney basically since my grandmother died, because I was my grandmother's power of attorney for 15 years. And when she died, it transferred to the heir basically of her daughter, which is my mother. And my mother had went so far with the death of it. But I want to say that as far as she went and that she could have gone, what she did was she gave me a limited power of attorney specifically, and it's focused specifically for me to pursue any and all avenues concerning my grandmother's death that we believe was murder. We believe that she was murdered in Broward Health. There is a link that I'm going to put into the description that shows the entire process of that power of attorney, because what it also includes, it includes a jury. Basically, it was notarized, and I thank God for Miss Erica, who was here to notarize it. Miss Erica, some may know, she used to work at Mizell Funeral Home. She was here to do the notary, and she also and she swore my mother to the truthfulness of the statements. So notarizing a signature is saying that yes, this person is who they were who notarized the signature. The jurate, after that fact, now you're saying, I do swear under oath to the best of my knowledge and my ability, or you can swear, so help me God, or however it is, but it's the same thing as being in court from my understanding, as far as a jurate is concerned. So the notarization, and then the notarization of the jurate where she's sworn in, and it was also videotaped for accountability. For purposes of accountability, hallelujah, and transparency, it was videotaped. And so that's going to be linked for you too as well. I also want to say that if you've been linked, if you've been tagged into this video, and for some reason you don't want to be tagged in anymore, please send me an instant message on either Facebook or you'll have ways to send it to me within the description, just in case. But if you've been tagged in, more than likely it's for you, for those who know me. I know that a lot of tax dollars have been spent in doing whatever they need to do to place me on a terrorist list just to prevent my grandmother and I from moving into a white community. Please Google it. It's very important. If you can't find it, send me a description back, a comment back, and tell me that you can't find the statement, because it's not many people know on Section 8, there are certain people have an exemption. There's an exemption that you don't have to stay within particular areas. It's people with disabilities. However, disability is overlooking because you think either it's you have to be blind as a disabled, or there's a certain grade or scale to the type of disability where you can be included or excluded from it. No, if you have a disability, period, it's a recorded disability. This is an example. I had a son who has a reading disability, and had a reading disability, and for some reason, because of the IEPs, for those parents who understand that terminology, IEPs with ESC students and stuff like that, that he's still flunking pretty much. He can't focus on the education. And there's some schools that have particular programs for learning disabilities, focused programs that centered on to literally on those kids for learning disabilities, such as me hearing about American Heritage. I believe American Heritage private school. From my understanding, I think it's a #1 rated in Florida. But so let's say my son has it. My pretend son, I'm giving an analogy, has this wonderful, wonderful ability of football. Okay, but the opposite of it is because of his grades, he cannot be involved in football into that particular program because he can't keep his grades up in that particular public school. Let's say American Heritage notices my son and notices the abilities that my son have and has a perfect program for him at the same time. The only catch to it is that for my son to be a part of that program, he has to live within certain boundaries of American heritage. That's the only way he would be able to get the scholarship. Now, within those boundaries of American heritage, here's the thing. There's a thing called a FMR, fair market rent value. So the FMR in certain areas of the county, like within, let's say my area, which is across from Dillon High School, lower class areas, the FMR, the fair market rent value, would be pretty much kind of standard. So where HUD would give probably $1,200 for 2-bedroom apartment, and I'm just giving numbers here just to give you an example. But if you look up this form that I was telling you about, which is called HUD HUD/PIH 2013-18. Again, that is HUD/PIH, the number 2, the number 0, the number 1, the number 3-18. You'll see it. So with the rent is $1,200. Okay, now it's $1,200 that's it. That's the max that you can get. But with this exception, the thing that happens with this exception is that because now American Heritage requires us to be within a certain, this is an example. Nothing against American Heritage or anybody else, because I don't know. I can only give you an example to show you the power of this particular exception that HUD has. So American Heritage, you have to be within our area to qualify for the scholarship. Okay, their area now, I only have a max of $1,200 in rent for a 2-bedroom apartment. In particular areas such as that, let's say, example, it would be is the lowest you can be, even in most affordable housing, is especially in those particular in the higher class areas, affordable housing in the higher class areas, there's a waiting list. And because I have a housing voucher, there's a time limit on the search time that we have, period. So you have to find what's available. If not, you lose your housing voucher. So I found a housing voucher, or I found a place or location there, and the rent happens to be $2,200, or the rent happens to be $1,800. HUD/PIH 2013-18 is the exception to payment standard. It's the exception to payment standard that says that the cap that would be placed for normal people who do not have disabilities, whether it is learning, it is a disability, period. That cap can now be removed. It is so, in my opinion, the policy, the notice, and if you look it up, when you see it, it is very, very powerful. It's not just powerful, but it's very transformative. Because once this happens, this gets approved, and per the Supreme Court, because it's through a reasonable accommodation, per the Supreme Court, a reasonable accommodation cannot be denied unless it is a burden to the person, burden to the corporation that the reasonable accommodation be made to. And just so you know, for government programs such as housing, they have to make funds, extra funds, readily accessible. I believe that's the term, readily accessible for people who struggle with disabilities. So that's a side. They have to have those extra funds for the exception. So other than that, if there's no burden, which you have extra funds in your program that is allotted for, just people have not requested it, and so it's just cushion. that you just don't see. Other than that, the person has to be what we call a threat to the community, which for somehow that's just my opinion. I believe because I was placed again on the terrorist list, and all types of records have been changed. That's why I want those who do know me. If you know me, if you know of me, if you knew me, if you've had any experience with me, I'm telling you that taxpayers have wasted, tax dollars have been wasted. To the taxpayers, your dollars have been wasted. And it's been a lot of money because it's been going on for a long time. I would say for 8 years now, believe it or not. Some people don't believe that I have been experiencing this for this length of time, but it has been. I want to reach out to those people that are in the intelligence community, to ask those people in the intelligence community to please confirm and to verify my statements and the things that's been happening, been going on. I asked, because of what I'm looking to get into at the courts, I literally have to, because my mother has given me power of attorney, the focus power of attorney for my grandmother, that is only to hire other attorneys, and definitely private investigators and stuff. Now, here's the catch-22. I can go to the federal courts, and this is my understanding so far, but I could go to federal courts, and it can be Terry Brewer Jr. versus the United States, which from my understanding, how it will appear, because it is against the United States that they have not stepped in to protect the policy that they created, and they allowed retaliation to happen to my grandmother and I, period, without stepping in. This involves Congresswoman Sheila Cherfilus McCormick, who knew about her office knew about things, and they still haven't stepped in yet. They still have not forwarded things to DOJ just to get an opinion, just to advise her whether actions have been criminal or not. That's it. It's not for her to say, we need y'all to get involved in this, we need a case to get started. No. Do you think these actions are, I'm quoting, advise whether the allegations warrant a criminal investigation on my behalf. I just want to quote exactly what's there, nothing more and nothing less. And that's been since August 7th, 2022. Her chief of staff, who has now, they have a new chief of staff and everything else like that, but they've been giving me the runaround. And then I met her, I saw her directly. I've given her a flyer directly. I've been getting the runaround. So I do ask, again, for you all, you can go on. If what I'm saying just doesn't make sense, and go online. You can go online, because I'm asking, I'm going to need funds. Because what's happening, as I was going back to what I was saying as far as I can put Terry Brewer Jr. versus United States, but I can't go as a pro se litigant. So I can do pro se litigant for myself, but I personally do not believe, and I'm still waiting on this attorney or an attorney to advise me. I don't think I can do, because I've been given the authority to act on my grandmother's behalf after her death. I cannot personally go and now put her name like I'm representing her, because I'm not an attorney to do that. Now I have to hire an attorney to do it for us. So that's my catch-22 to this. And this is why I need for those to, please, if you want to know more information about, I got the information. All you have to do is log on to www.soscongresswomansheilacm.com. That is www.soscongresswomansheilacm.com. All right. And when you read it, if what I'm saying, I just need you to support it. Give 2 cents. If this don't make sense, give 2 cents. Give your 2 cents if it don't make sense. Whatever the minimal amount that you can give. And I know off the bat, I can tell you that the Cash App that we have, it's T as in Tom, B as in boy, C as in cat, S as in Sam, 360. T as in Tom, B as in boy, C as in cat, S as in Sam, 360. Contributions made are not tax deductible. So they are not tax deductible again. Any contributions that you make are not tax deductible. And just in case, on that website, because for some reason I don't think everybody's been able to get on that website, it is a forwarded address. It's a Wix website. So if you have problems getting on, please, there is www.terryb01.wixsite.com/my site. That's what it is. I just created a domain for the Congresswoman who has been ignored. If you are a congressional representative and you have a constituent that has made a domain saying SOS Congresswoman or Congressman, doesn't matter who it is, and you still are not there, something's not right. Something's not right. So I'm asking you to allow me to get to the bottom line of what's been going on. And the only way I can do that, as I started already, is to start conducting surveys. So I'm doing a survey, what they call it, a desperate impact survey. It is a legal terminology. It is a terminology that even the Supreme Court has been using. It's everywhere. Desperate impact. Well, it's desperate impact, but how we can prove that there's a desperate impact on a particular class that is protected, a particular class such as race or such as just disabled individuals or people against or religious individuals, is to do a survey. That's one of the things that we can do, is do a survey to prove that there is a desperate impact. So that's one of the things that we hope to do with those funds. The second thing is to recruit a team of specialists to create a plan of action to offset the damage caused by modern housing discrimination that includes private investigators and attorneys, and it includes some folks. And it's a shame that I can note that I can't depend on my own government to do it, but it's shown in all of the actions that nobody wants to do anything into any of this stuff. And if you ask me personally, it is because the former President Donald Trump's name is on there. He's connected to it. If you go on the website, again, I would like to spare the time just to make this plea out. The website has the information. I will put the link on there too as well. The third hope that I have for raising additional funds is to host Zoom meetings with other housing recipients to show them about this particular exception to payment standard, to actually show my housing files. I have no problem showing my housing files. The point that I got to, the point that they approved it, the only other thing that would stop or prevent anybody, from my personal opinion, that could stop or prevent anybody either from being added on the terrorist list yourself or they change the law. But the law is where it's at. And there's a wide open lane for this. And it changes the entire dynamic, being allowed something like this, because as I was saying, if we were allowed, if that would be approved to move into that American heritage community, so to move within American heritage boundaries, if that would be approved, my son now gets an opportunity to play on a wonderful football team. And then even if football is not about NFL. Football is about, one, if the disability, especially the ADHD, exercise and activity alone is a wonderful thing that really is like the to really counter the ADHD is the high intense exercise and activity and stuff. That's a major thing. So with the graduation rate of American Heritage, being able to go to college. Let's say I have another person that's within the house, another child is within the house. Let's say I'm a father who has never gone to college, but now my son has gone to college. And again, I'm giving you an example. I don't have a son. That changes, that it is a generational change forever. It's a generational change not just on me personally, but on the taxpayers. Because before my son was headed to American Heritage or was headed to an area of opportunity, you were getting ready to pay for either him being on Social Security, on SSI, or something of that particular realm because of his particular disability, and because maybe a school just didn't have the exact program. There's nothing against the schools. It's just particular programs, it's particular things that people can customize for children that's available. It is what it is. So again, I just ask for you to go online. Please do your best to do that. I just ask you to go online. And again, please do your best to do that. I ask for people to invest into me. Invest into me, invest into this particular issue that I have been dealing with forever, trying to get somewhere, and know that at the end of the day, who's paying for it? Y'all paying for it. Any tax, and we're all taxpayers. But for those who are always thinking about, people who are on welfare or some form of need or something like that, and you're trying to figure out what's happening, you have people who are trying to tell you what's happening, what's going on. Just hear it out. This discrimination, which you may have noticed, because for people who do know me, they know I have a certain speech, a cadence, and my cadence may be off. So it's still allegations, but my medications are on certain medications to keep me focused, or maybe like ADHD medications. I don't want to get into it a little too much, or like testosterone medications. I'm not making this up. Like testosterone and ADHD medications, they are now placebos. So for those who know me, if you can, just respond to this, or send it to someone else, or give like literally 3 cents, whatever the minimum is on Cash App, or once you go online, because when you do go online on SOS Congresswoman Sheila CM.com or www.terryb01.wixsite.com/my site, and it's long, but unfortunately I believe that it's that much discrimination that has been occurring that anytime someone tries to attempt to go on that site, it either may come up to be an error, as if you don't have the right address. No, you got the right one. But it is the way it is. So please give, do the best you can do. Just cents, whatever, cents for cents, please, cents for cents. If folks out there have also wondered regarding the city commissioner, Pamela Beasley-Pittman, I reached out to her office. Me personally, it seems to be an intentional phone tag. You know when you're getting phone tagged, and there's intentional. Oh, Mr. Brewer, give us a call back. We just missed your call, and it's like back and forth. And the only thing I wanted to do, because I put a flyer in her hand, and the only thing I wanted to do was to figure out why the City of Fort Lauderdale Police Department, and the way it is described, and the only way you know is just click on the link. You'll see the description of what happened to my grandmother. She was murdered. That's my personal opinion. But even just to make a report, to get an investigation, they, as in the City of Fort Lauderdale, is trying to say that it is a civil matter and not criminal. there are certain actions that people may do even in a hospital. It is not negligence. There are certain actions that if you go in there and you stab somebody in the hospital, okay, there are certain actions, I have to make it that dramatic. She wasn't stabbed, but I have to make it that dramatic because once you read the report and you see the actions, it's beyond negligence. It becomes malicious intent. And the malicious intent then now is the only reason that was, in my opinion, was retaliation. And we have not been able to file even a police report just to get a number and just to say, hey, we filed it. Due process. Commissioner hasn't gotten back with us. Commissioner hasn't properly, in my opinion, done what they need to do either. I thank you for your time in this video. Please, if you have any other questions, you can also reach the company. Leave a message at the company number. Leave a message. You call the company number, which is 954-300-2898. 954-300-2898. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for donating. Thank you for commenting. Stay blessed.